How's it going, everybody? Wherever you listen to this podcast right here, this is episode 125 of the TempahZone podcast with your host, me, Amir Max, and that's all facts. And ladies and gentlemen, my special guest in the Zoom building with me is somebody who I highly respect. This is someone right here who I've been able to hang out with a good amount of times through the Bars Over Bars media conglomerate, I guess. Heroes building a big thing over there, and I was able to meet this special guest through that, and I've just been very impressed with everything I've heard and the range that this dude got. And it's a unique range. It ain't your typical range. When I say he got range, it's he can explore sounds and do things with the inflection and his singing and rapping. That's just super impressive, man. And I'm very happy to have him on this week's episode. Ladies and gentlemen, I got Willy D in the Zoom building with us. Willy, what's up, man?
Hell yeah, I'm glad to be here on the TempahZone podcast. I've been waiting to be on this one. I've seen your other interviews, and I'm like, oh damn, he's really good at interviews. It's really cool. So I'm excited to be here, man.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate it, man. It's been a long time coming, but I told you, I was like, Willy, we gonna make it happen, man. Just wait on it, all right, bro? We're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, and then after all that, me badgering you, and then I screwed up the first date that we were supposed to.
Yeah,
the irony of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, for the people listening, when I book the guests and I do these things like way ahead. So to your fairness, we booked the episode very well,
over a month out.
Yeah, and a lot can change. Things happen. So to me, I always keep that in mind. It's it's one thing if you book it 4 or 5 days ahead, and it's all right, it's pretty fresh in your mind and whatnot. But I always booking those things ahead of time. I've had to postpone episodes I've done with people just because I was like, yo, man, I don't have the energy to give the interview I want to give you, so let's move it to next week. So stuff like that always happens, man. But we here now. We making it happen, man. And I definitely just want to ask you, a simple question. I've always, curious with artists who do what you do and explore all the sounds that you do, because it always makes you wonder, how many phases and it can this person break down where they were able to listen to all these genres, because you have a lot that you do, but it always comes back to sounding like you. It doesn't really sound like you're getting too outside of your comfort zone. So I simply just ask you, man, what this made you decide to release music on all platforms and get this ball rolling as an artist?
Well, I realized that listening to music, all my friends are like, "You're an idiot. Why do you use YouTube in SoundCloud to listen to music?" And I'm one of those guys. Because it's just I always did. And then I tried Spotify. I was like, "Oh, you have to pay for it to listen to the music you actually want to listen to." So I was like, screw that." And so I just never really got into it because I was really fickle about it. But now that I'm making music and stuff, I realize how important Spotify, platforms outside of SoundCloud and YouTube are. And so it got me into it, and now I'm not such a little bitch about it anymore. Where I'm like, I don't want to do that. They make me pay. But I kind of got over that because I kind of had to. I think my producer really pushed me. He was like, "Look, man, if you're going to be releasing music and you want to take this seriously, you got to do it on all platforms, or it's not. You know what I mean? You just have to do it." So that he really pushed me to do it, and I'm glad he did, because now I can reach a lot more people, because not everyone uses SoundCloud. That was always one of the things. I'm like, want to listen to my music? Go on SoundCloud. They're like, "Oh, I don't have SoundCloud." I'm like, damn it. Not a time that happens. But So I just started releasing stuff to Spotify and everything else through DistroKid, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shout out to DistroKid, TuneCore, United Masters, all that stuff. That's how you get your music on all these streaming platforms, ladies and gentlemen. And I think you've even noticed, when you tell people yo, my music is on everything, you can almost see them take you just a little bit more seriously. It's always funny.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're not just a SoundCloud rapper. Okay, you're taking this seriously. You're trying to actually make it a business and make it a thing,
Yeah.
But I don't mind that you can actually make money off of these other platforms. You can't really do that on SoundCloud. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, exactly, man. I mean, there's always, good reasons why somebody would refuse to put their stuff on Spotify, Apple. There can be reasons for it, but I think if you want to give the easy accessibility to people, you got to go Spotify or Apple Music, or then all streaming platforms. But like, I've rarely met people who use Amazon or Tidal or Pandora. It's usually Apple, Spotify. Like if you could just get your music just on those two platforms, you could probably get by pretty well. But you just want to get them everywhere.
I feel like Amazon probably pays distribution companies to be like, hey, can you make it so that it goes on our platform too?
Yeah.
Like, please help us for being relevant.
Yeah,
I've never heard of anyone who uses Amazon Music. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that do. Like maybe if they use it on like their TV or something, like because I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody who uses stuff outside of like Apple or Spotify, I would assume they got a good reason for it. It's probably just like a little bit cheaper or some reason. I would hope. You know what I mean? But I'm not the type of person to judge what people listen to music on. Whatever
I don't know crap about whether or not Amazon Music or any of that stuff is good because I've never really looked into it. That's like kind of why it's just more me being like, huh? Like people use that, it's just me being ignorant, not knowing.
No. I totally hear you, man. I just feel like there's what would you say? There's a tribalism when it comes to what you listen to music on. You know what I mean? Like I use Tidal mainly, and I felt the brunt force of using Tidal from my friends. They're like, dude, you use Tidal? Like, who uses Tidal? And I'm like, man, like they pay the artist more per stream than any other platform. Like that's why I use it. Like I have my reasons. You know what I mean? And so like
that's a good reason.
It's a great reason. I always tell people, like, man, like you want to support the artists, you want to contribute better. Use Tidal. They pay more per stream than any other platform. So I always tell people that it's like, maybe consider that, and maybe you'll feel a little bit better about when you listen to music. But I mean, whatever floats your boat. I know people like Spotify because the year-end wraps and, it gives them all their stats and they take a shit ton of data. So
I think it just has to do with critical mass. Like it's like Twitter, for instance. Like why people use Twitter over other things? Like it's because people use Twitter over other things. That's why they use it more over other. It's just kind of like, once like one thing becomes the place where almost everyone goes to, it's like that saying like power lies where people believe it lies. So people believe that Spotify is the place to go, then that's where people are going to go, And it's weird because you can't really predict how that's going to change.
No, and I mean, if you could predict what's the future of music distribution, I mean, you'd be a trillionaire, honestly. You know what I mean? But it's tough to say because, like, right now, it just seems like we are stuck in the streaming game, and you ask yourself, like, where does it go from here? But that's what they asked. That's what they said to themselves, 15 years ago, 25 years ago. So it's like it's just wait and see. And as artists, we just gotta adapt, I guess. So,
we'll see what wave comes next.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Speaking of all this, talk with streaming and stuff like that, and, how much, you get paid per stream on these platforms. Have you ever, it's okay if you haven't, but have you ever tried to think of a different way to distribute your music to, make more money off of it? Have you ever entertained that idea before?
I've thought of recently. I mean, I this is something I'm going to try to get into as well very soon. Is I've thought of maybe incorporating it into, instead of just doing music, doing a lot more like video stuff with it, because I feel like a lot of times when someone releases a song, it's like unless someone already knows that artist and likes that artist, it's unlikely for them to give it the time of day. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and I know that because of myself. Like I see like something on there, like posted, it just says, hey, there's a new song. Like I'm like, oh, like I may listen to it, I may not, depending on. But I feel like if things have like videos to it, like a lot more like music videos, even if it's just for like promo, like snippets videos, like not for the whole song, but like it just gives something that grabs someone's attention right away and gives them the attention span to actually give it the time of day. You know what I mean? So I've been thinking about doing that to try to attract more attention. But as far as monetizing in a different way, I guess I've been told by my producer that it's a good idea to like try and get CDs made or something like that, or vinyls to see if you can see if I can go to like a shop and get them to sell them. See if
Yeah.
they'll sell them.
Yeah. I
But,
think,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna experiment with that.
Yeah. I mean, any sort of piece of merchandise or some sort of item that you can sell that is Willy D is something that you can, totally entertain. And I don't think in, 2022 going into 2023, there's anything wrong with selling CDs. Like, I think there is a place for it. I think it's still, I still think there's people out there who would buy it, and regardless if they put it in there wherever you can listen to a CD, I still think people.
I have friends who have cars that have CD players. Still.
Yeah, mine still does. Yeah, mine still does. But like, I do definitely think there is still a place for it, and somehow, vinyl is, I'm pretty sure even sells more than CDs nowadays.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about mostly is like CDs if they do it, but like definitely like vinyls. I'm gonna get vinyls made of like my album, for instance. Uh, but yeah, also merch is a good idea. I'm definitely gonna get on that game for sure. I'm just super busy with finals at school right now, and once I'm done with that, though, I'm gonna start investing all my time back into my music
Yeah.
and everything else around it. So I'm definitely gonna try and get some merch made, and I'll definitely send you. I'll send you a Willy D shirt for sure.
Yo, man, I'll rock that, man. I'm a big proponent of rocking my people's merch when I go out. Like I'll put the jean jacket over it, and people be like, "What is that?" Like I always love explaining. I'm like, "Yo, it's my, is this person? Is this thing? Because
you have Mirror Max merch,
bro. I need to make. I only have TempahZone merch, but I do need to make a Mirror Max merch. My thing though. I've always been very like choosy on like, my own like name, Amir Max, and put merch on it. Like I almost would rather just want to sell TempahZone merch because because I don't know, just have
merch.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know why. Like I mean, but I eventually, but I know people would wear Amir Max. I just couldn't wear Amir Max. I'd feel weird wearing it. Like I'd wear TempahZone. Just one of those things. I'd be getting in my own head about it. But I definitely need to make merch, and any artist should find a way to make some sort of merchandise. Like it's like, you're selling yourself short. If you don't in some capacity.
Yeah, I feel I didn't realize because when I first started music, I wasn't doing it for the money. It was just something I did for fun, and then I fell in love with it, and then I started taking it very seriously. And I didn't realize until like doing stuff through bars and seeing people selling merch and stuff. It's like that's mainly how people make money in the music business. It's usually not from people listening to the songs; it's from people buying merch or paying for tickets.
Yeah, that's the it's the way you can seriously make a lot of money in this industry. And I mean, if you just have like 100 people who decide to, or even less, depending on how much you sell it and your whole business strategy, like you can have like just under 100 people buying your stuff at a certain price consistently, and you can make yourself a good amount of money per year. So it's easier said than done though, but it's definitely a way for it. So
definitely got to hustle to get the attention.
Yeah,
because a lot of people don't realize like. It's not like you just make a song and then you start making money. It's like you have to make yourself like popular and known, and then you can sell things. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like it's not really from the music. The music is what makes it what draws people in, but that's not where you make the money.
No,
most of the time, yeah. Especially with streaming services, they usually screw artists over a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if so the listeners, if y'all just look up how much these platforms pay per stream, if you don't know, inform yourself on just how bad it is. It's just crazy. I mean, as a consumer, like, can you can kind of understand why it's this way, and but as an artist, it's like, damn, man, like I wish like you could just make money off of music. Like that would.
Well, it does make sense though, because think about it this way: if Spotify was paying a lot more money for streams, they wouldn't allow just anyone to be able to put their music on, and so we would be a lot more restricted. It would be a lot more gatekept of an industry to get into. So it's kind of like a trade-off,
Exactly. those are definitely all those things you got to think about in terms of why Spotify pays that much or Apple or whatever, any of these platforms. I mean, it's not like any of them are paying $1 per stream or something. So it's like, so it's not like they're doing anything like, ideally like that. It's always like 0.00006 cents. So it's like, some crazy shit. But it's like, if you look at it from a business standpoint, I guess you can see where they're coming from. But yeah, as artists, we just got to find a way to, make the best of the situation. I think, a lot of artists are getting creative in doing that. But you said that you were talking about like not being that serious and then getting fully serious with it. At what point, what year would you say like you were like, nah, I'm gonna push the button and go all in with this music stuff?
I can't tell you the year necessarily, or I can speculate. I don't remember exactly, but it seems so long ago, especially when COVID hit. Like 2 years ago seems like 5 years ago.
For real.
But when I came back for the summer after my freshman year, my first freshman year of college, obviously my first, but that's when I went over to Lou, my producer.
Yeah.
Starfish Death Squad. I'm old friends with him from back in I met him back in kindergarten actually.
Oh wow,
and
way back.
Yeah, way back. We grew up together, and then I went over to visit him, and he has a recording studio. I was like, oh, that's so cool because he's a sound engineer, and so I recorded, and I think it was about maybe like instantly, I immediately knew it was something I loved doing, but then I didn't think like there was any hope until I started like meeting other people, and I was like, oh, there's a bunch of people here, like I can make connections and stuff, and then I think maybe like a year and a half in. Maybe is when I really decided. I was like, I don't care what it takes. If I can make this into something that I can do for the rest of my life, I'm going to. Mm-hmm. And then my hopes got even more bolstered when I met Bars Over Bars, and all those guys, and that I never thought I'd be able to perform until I met them. But yeah, and then now here I am.
Yeah,
I think it's been like 5 years that I've been making music.
Damn, man. Yeah, that's impressive, man. If you said 10 years, I would have believed it, because you definitely just give off a confidence when you're performing, and in your music, you're doing things that I don't see too many artists do, period. I'm not even just talking about New England. I'm just talking about like in general when I listen to any artist, maybe that's just says a lot about who I'm listening to. But regardless, you have your collaboration project with Dying Star, who I've also had on this podcast here. Bad Vibes, man, and y'all delivering the energy on. Oh my God, man. Talk about how y'all came about putting together this EP and why you wanted to put this out.
So me and Dying Star, I met him at a show, but I had heard about him, and I think he had heard about me before that, because on the Bars Over Bars live streams where people submit music and stuff, I guess I heard one of his songs, and I was like, oh, this guy, because I was just starting to experiment with doing screamo rap, because I'm in my Ghostmane phase. I was listening to a lot of Ghostmane, and I had just discovered him at the time, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. So I was trying it out myself. And then I heard Dying Star's song, and I was like, oh my God, this guy does screamo rap. Like, I thought I didn't know there was other people around here that did that. And someone told me that he knew, I forget who it was. Oh no, I think it was J-Rem. Yeah, J-Rem told me, he was like, yeah, that's Dying Star. He goes to bar shows and stuff. He's like, you guys should definitely do some stuff together. And then I went to a show where he and I think J-Rem was there, and I think J-Rem introduced us. I don't remember. I know J-Rem was the one who recommended that we meet up. And I met him at a show, and then I introduced him to Lou, my producer, and now he does a ton of recording with Lou. And we decided to do some collabs together, and they came out fire. And we both loved it. And then so Dying Star was like, hey, you want to do an EP together? And I was like, absolutely. I'm so down to do that. So we just grinded out in the studio. I think it was like 3 or 4 sessions. We got that whole thing done.
Impressive, man. Wow. Yeah, because I was extremely impressed, and listening to that project, man, bangers on this one, ladies and gentlemen, bangers. This shit goes hard. So,
Thank you.
yeah, man, no, I highly, recommend y'all check it out. And, I'm, going into it, I didn't know, like, I knew you have your range with your vocals, but man, like, you were getting in your screamo bag for real, because, I know Dying Star, how he gets down. So I was like, man, how Willie gonna match up with that? And like, yo, you stepped up to the plate, man. Was that something you were nervous about going into it, working with Dying Star, or was that something you were pretty comfortable with?
By the time we decided that we were going to make an EP, I was very comfortable with my ability to do screamo. But when I first started working with him, I was definitely intimidated. But we'd been doing stuff together for I'd been doing screamo stuff for like at least 2 years by the time that we decided to make the EP. So I was very confident going in. But definitely when I first started collaborating with him, I was very nervous that I wasn't going to be able to measure up because he lives and breathes that screamo stuff, and I'm just a guest in that house. Is how I see it, because it's like, because the way I see it, I don't have like a definitive style, other than just like my, like, I guess, quirky, humorous personality. But outside of that, like, I feel like I just want to collect all the different styles and like have them all, and like walk around with all the different styles, like, because it's always been my dream to. I always had this fantasy of like being able to be like a really good artist in every single possible genre. At least with rap, at least that incorporates rap. Yeah. But I'm down to venture outside of that too from time to time, for sure. I just need to get better at singing. Yeah. Which I'm
Hey, in time, you can definitely make it happen. And I think in this day and age, the listener is smarter than what the artist may think. Like, listeners are very understanding that, in my opinion at least, that an artist is capable of just making one type of sound, or just 2 or 3. An artist could have 10 just cause, and as long as it's them doing it and it's genuine with them, go for it. That's how I've always seen it. Like, if it genuinely feels right for you to make, go ahead and make it. But don't just make an EDM song because you saw Drake drop Honestly Nevermind, and now you're like, oh, I got to make an EDM song. Like, do what feels right. Like, like, don't just do things to do things. Like, it's got to come from the heart. And I think the listeners can smell that. It's like, oh, okay, like, I can feel this, you can feel the heart. So
thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I just don't want to end up having a Bob Dylan moment. That's why I came out of the gate heavy with trying out different things that are very different from each other, because I wanted to establish to people who listen to me very early on that I could do this one day and I could do something completely different the next day, and that they should expect that. Because I don't want it up being, you ever hear this story about Bob Dylan when he started doing psychedelic rock after a while?
It sounds familiar, like, the story.
Classics. Yeah, he went to a concert for like a new project that he made. And this is after, because Bob Dylan, he's like the folk music guy that everyone's like, oh yeah, it's brilliant, he's so good at it. And he decided he wanted to do something completely different this time. And so he went out and started doing like these psychedelic rock songs that he made. And his fans were like, what? This isn't what we wanted. This isn't you. And he's like, no, this is me. I'm just doing something different now. And they didn't receive it well. So I don't want to be pegged in like a specific genre,
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That story definitely sounds familiar, but, yeah, man, it's a real thing. And I think, some people are lucky to be able to make whatever they want, and some people have to stick with a sound. And I don't think there's a better career to have, personally, but you just gotta give it a go sometimes. If you never know unless you don't try. So yeah. So
I feel like the more success people have in the music industry with certain things, like, I feel like the temptation and like feeling of pressure to stick to what is already successful, and this is with any business really, like,
sure,
it grows a lot larger. But I hope I never get stuck in one genre forever. I like to bounce around and do different things, because I get bored. If I do the same thing for too long, I get bored of it,
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, no, I feel you there.
Never make a song and be like, I already made this song, basically. I don't need to make this song again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, you don't want to, you got to make it fun for yourself too. So
yeah,
for
sure.
So keep yourself entertained, man. But yeah, going through your catalog, I was, impressed with what I went through. And obviously your latest single, Echelon, was another one I was, really vibing to a lot, man. Talk about just the overall creation of that song. What made you want to make that one?
So that song, and also, I don't know if you heard the song Dark Souls.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those two songs were my first two attempts at doing drill music. And what got me into it was there's another artist that works with my producer. The artist's name is Dat Boy Solo, and I also he grew up in the same town as me. We went to the same school and everything, so I know him from a while back. And he is really good at making drill music, and I liked a lot of his songs that I was hearing, and I was like, I want to try that out. I want to see if I can have some fun with that. And so I thought, what better way than to do a song with him, and he could maybe like help out, like it just, we could bounce ideas off each other. It's better than me starting from scratch, going in blind, And we made the song Dark Souls together, and then we liked it so much that we ended up making another one, and that's when we made Echelon. And we just that boy Solo is like amazing at drill music. He's really good at it, and so I'm really lucky to have been able to learn from him. And he was explaining to me what I didn't know what the term sliding meant in the context of drill music, but now I do, thanks to him. So a lot more. I feel like when I see other artists that are doing something different, I like to learn from them. I feel like it makes it more fun and interesting to try out different things when you have kind of like a mentor there, or someone who can do it with you, you know what I mean? And like that you can have the experience with, and like watch what they do, and then figure out how you can make that work for yourself,
Yeah, and I mean the drill scene is booming right now. So to have a song in that sound is definitely it's definitely dope, man. And you comfy on that one, man. I was definitely
had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, man. I think that's dope. That's dope. You said the term sliding in terms of a drill beat. I think I know what it means, but what does that mean?
Well, it's kind of like it's where like it's like how do I explain it? So it's basically like, typically in rap, like in boom bap, you'd have like you do a line like this and this and that, and then there's a kind of a pause. Sliding is when you kind of like keep going and with the rhythm over and over again, but like basically doing like it's like where you kind of go like really crazy with flows, but there's never ever a pause or break, and that's you slid for that long.
Oh, okay.
It's like it's like, because in drill music there's a lot of pauses, like where you'd be like something, and then like something, but then you can then go into a like, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, he's sliding now. Like first you do that thing, and then you start to slide, and then it's just kind of like a colloquial term. Like I'm sure there's not like an official term, but it's just something that I learned. I like that term a lot. Like, oh, he's sliding right now.
Yeah, no, I can get down with that. Yeah, no, that's a dope one, because I've never, thought to describe someone's flow on a song as sliding. So when you said that, I was like, I gotta ask, man, and I think that's pretty cool, man. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna start saying that one now, because I definitely know some songs where I do hear that, and I think it works well with drill. I think there's a lot of just dope things you can do with that sound, man. And maybe we get some more Willy D drill songs, man. Who knows?
Definitely going to be making more of that for sure. I have not even started to get, my interest in it is still going up. So I'm definitely going to be doing more of that genre for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I guess on a different vibe, man, one of the songs I heard by you that just really stood out to me, because I just thought you were getting in your bag and just really showing off in a great way, obviously showing off, was the song Click. You're doing all these different rap voices and just, oozing character on this song, man. Characters, you're just getting in different bags. What made you decide to make a song like this?
Well, so basically, I actually, my first attempt at screamo is for a project called Willy D is Not Okay, which isn't even out yet still, because I'm making a music video for it, and not like just like not just like a camera phone music video, like it's like a whole process, and spent a lot of money on it, and there's a lot of editing and all this for it. So it's taken a while, but and I'm not going to release it until the music video is done. So it's funny. It's the very first screamo music I ever made. Still isn't out yet, but all the screamo music I made after is already out.
Yeah.
But Click was my first screamo song I made after making the songs for my screamo album that is not out yet still.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I feel like with Click, with my screamo album, I tried to do a lot more growling voice on it, and with Click, I was like, I want to like oscillate between different like voices, like, and also like the theme of Click is like the idea of like this person who's like obviously mentally unstable, but is uh like but that it's everyone else's fault. It's like they're mad at the world, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like the song is all about being mad at the world, but it's like there's irony because it's like you can't listen to this person and think, oh, like they're okay, but they're saying no, like fuck you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of like the song is kind of about like rage and insanity and like not seeing things clearly. But and it's like almost like the click 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 inside my head. It makes me sick. Like
Yeah.
it's all about toxic thinking, I guess, is the theme of that song, and I really wanted to express that through it. And in order to do that, I wanted to express like the mind, like the person's mindset jumping all over the place at once. And so I did different kinds of voices to kind of portray that. I hope I portrayed it.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it definitely, and I definitely wanted to ask you, just when making a song like that, all the different voices and characters that you are portraying, when you stepped into the booth and recorded that, was there a lot of prep that went into it? Was that something you kind of just, were messing with your voice inflections on the fly? What was that process like?
So that song, some songs I just write in like improvise on the spot in the studio. Gotcha. I do that a lot more now than I used to, just because it's just more convenient. But that song is one that I had the beat, and like was able to take the beat home with me, and I sat down and I wrote to it before going into the studio, and I rehearsed over and over again. So that I rehearsed the shit out of before stepping up onto the mic. So yeah, there was a lot of work that went into rehearsing that one for sure, especially because I hadn't tried out that kind of variety of screamo before until I made that song. So I really wanted to make sure I nailed it right. But yeah, so I did a lot of prep, and when I rehearse, I don't just rehearse the lyrics. I rehearse how I'm going to inflect my voice for that lyric, and over and over until it just becomes natural once I step up on the mic, and I don't have to really worry about it as much.
Yeah, bro. Because I'm hearing that song and I'm just like, damn, like what goes into making a song like this, man? It just blew my mind. I'm just surprised I haven't heard that one sooner, because I've seen you live, and I have
that song is really hard to perform.
Yeah,
it's really hard to. I didn't do that because that song, like, I can do the voices, but it's really like there's like almost no breath space in the song at all. Like it's like almost none. Like I could maybe take 2 breaths during that whole song without like having to skip words.
Yeah.
And so like that song, I tried performing it once and I think I did all right, but like it's that song is really hard to perform. That's a song that I like recorded like this take and then ran and like did the next take, and then you know what I mean? Because I was like, there's just no other way to do this. And make it sound like on point. So yeah, sometimes like you have to be careful when you make songs like that are really fast like that, because like you have to think like, can I perform this live? Like, will I be able to? And that's one of the ones that I feel like I have trouble, or I feel like I would have trouble performing live. But maybe I have more experience doing screamo live now, so that maybe I'll perform that live sometime soon.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no,
I'm glad you like that song though, because that was a song I was really proud of, and like I've posted songs, and sometimes songs people will be like, "Oh, this is awesome." That one got like a no reception. So.
Yeah.
So So I was like, oh, but so I was like, when you said that, I got all giddy. I was like, oh yes, he likes the song.
Yeah, nah, man, nah, that was a standout song from the catalog when I was going through it. I had to ask about that one, man. Because a lot of the other songs you have, obviously, like they sound dope. You're doing your thing, you spitting catchy, all that. But that song right there, I'm like, okay, this is. You're going on a whole different route with this one. Something I ain't seen too many people dabble in. And I definitely think sometimes people are afraid to hit the voice inflections, try something different. But I think it just helps so much easier with getting a point across. You know what I'm saying?
It sounds so much better too when you're rapping and you're not using inflection. You better have the most interesting monotone voice ever if it's gonna for it to sound good. That was one of the problems. Some of my first songs I ever put out, which I don't like, I can't even listen to them anymore. I didn't inflect my voice enough, so it just sounded like it didn't sound good. You know what I mean? My delivery wasn't good. Like I had great lyrics, right? Like that, I never had a problem with right off the bat because I always loved writing and stuff. But it was the knowing how it's going to sound on recording, like when I hear it played back to me, I was like, ugh, like, it's not good. Like it's not good. Much better now for sure than I was back then. But yeah, you gotta any rappers out there, you gotta use inflection to make it interesting. You know what I mean? You gotta inflect your voice. I've heard people. I won't name names, but I've heard people like rap, and I'm like, your raps are good, but like it sounds like you're holding back. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You sound nervous. You know what I mean? And it gives off a lack of confidence, and you never want that in rap.
Nah, yeah, you gotta just wear your heart on your sleeve when you rap and just put that oomph in your voice,
Exactly.
that shit takes time, and even for some, maybe a little maturity, maybe I just grow up and say, who gives a shit what you think? I'm gonna rap it like this, I'm gonna do it like this, and whatever you think, you may think. And I think, sometimes it just takes time for others, but it's an extremely important thing to learn as a rapper. Like you could have okay lyrics, but if you have a cool rapping voice and you're doing these unique things with your voice and flow, man, bro, like you can go crazy. You can go crazy with it. It's so many possibilities.
I actually made a song. Now that you say that, you could have trash lyrics but make it sound good. I made a song called "I Drive My Car Really Far," and because there is a joke in the studio with my producer Lou and this other guy who'd rap there too about how there's certain word rhyme combinations that are just forbidden because they're too tacky and too cliche.
Yeah.
And so we'd be like, so Lou would be like, I drive my car really far, and we would just laugh at that, yeah, that's like a trash line, it's stupid. But then I was like, I thought it was so funny that I was like, I'm gonna make a song using that line as the main line, as the hook. I'm just gonna act so crazy on the mic with it that it's gonna somehow sound good.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the stuff that you can get off if you just know how to do it in a certain way. I mean, you can rap about anything you want. It's just the way you do it. Like I always tell people that I'm like, you could, if you really want, you can make a song about whatever. I know like Aesop Rock, he literally has a song about his cat.
Yeah,
made it sound dope. Like there's just
amazing,
yeah, it's just like the possibilities are endless, and that's definitely
hey, Kirby.
Yep, Kirby, yep, yeah. So this is another example of just it can be a challenge, but I think it's worth it when you can find a way to make a song about something that most people wouldn't think you could. So yeah. Yeah, I think it's just all dope stuff, man. But Willy D, man, I'm very grateful that I had you on today's episode, man. This has been a really dope one, man. I just got a couple things I definitely want to ask you before we wrap it up here. I ask this question to every artist I have on the show, man, because every artist has something of value that they can share with the people. So my question for you is, what is some advice that you would give to any artist that's starting out? What's some pointers, some tips that you would throw at them?
Some pointers that I give is, do not expect to you're not going to become successful in music quickly. It's not going to happen unless you have parents who are producers or have connections in the music industry. Yeah, it's gonna take forever. And it's one of those things that everyone says like, oh, like the chances of being successful are so low. And it's like, yeah, that's true. But you're definitely not going, but they're going to be zero if you don't keep trying and keep going. And also, find yourself a producer who's not afraid to criticize you in a constructive way. And because your producer, your sound engineer knows what the fuck they're talking about. All right. Especially if they're a good sound engineer, they know what they're talking about, and you should listen to their advice for sure. And also, this industry is 30% about having good music and 70% about having good connections. So don't be one of those guys that's like gets butthurt over little things. Like this is an industry about making connections with people. So you got to almost think like an entrepreneur in that way. Like, don't let your ego get wrapped up into it to a point that it gets in your way. That's an important thing. I've seen a lot of talented people that I wish didn't have an ego that got in their way, because I see their potential and I'm like, if you could just let that part go, you could be so much more successful.
I totally agree with that, man. You know, you gotta leave your ego at the door doing this music stuff and not get so butthurt and offended by just certain things that people say. I mean, like you gotta have that tough skin doing this stuff, or you will not last. Like you can't get mad if someone's like, yeah, that song's okay. Like, it's okay, it's amazing. Like not everyone's gonna like your song. Like, it's just how it goes. Like, that's just the way the world works, man. Some people like red, some people like blue. It is what it is. So
it's just the way it is. It's an entertainment industry. It's not like a business where there's objective numbers. It's like, you got to find your crowd. You don't make people like you. You got to find people that are inclined to like you, you know?
Yeah, bro. Real facts right there, y'all. Real facts from Willy D, ladies and gentlemen. Is there anything you want to plug for the people before we wrap it up?
Absolutely. I'm going to be performing in a show on the 31st. It's New Year's show. My producer is going to be bringing a bunch of his artists, and I'm going to be one of them, representing Starfish Death Squad. Shout out Starfish Death Squad. And also,
where's the show at?
I have to check it on my phone, but I will be posting about it on my Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. I'm at Dinkle William. That's at DINKEL William on Instagram. And also, I'm going to be dropping an album, a screamo rap album soon called Willy D Is Not Okay, and a music video to go with it. So keep an eye out for that. And definitely go listen to Bad Vibes by me and Dying Star, for sure. But hell yeah. And shout out, thank you, TempahZone, for having me.
Yeah, man. No, we had to make it happen, Willy D. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you being on this week's episode, man, for real.
Hell yeah. Thank you, man.
For sure. Ladies and gentlemen, that's episode 125 of the TempahZone podcast. Make sure you tune in next week for another episode. All right? Peace out.